And hello, this is Jim Miller with Unlocking Personal Leadership Live. This is number 10. And tonight I want to talk about some things that have been on my mind. I was challenged today in a coaching class by Mr. Bob Donnell to create a mission statement. And it's been on my mind all day. But it's been a great day. I had, after that meeting with Bob and his coaching crew. Oh man, I had two big appointments that I will cherish for the rest of my life. I did two of my first live interviews. I've been doing interviews, taping them, recording them, and putting them up on YouTube. These two I did live, like I'm doing this one, but it was a real interview with a real person. So it was a little bit of a different feel, and it was so much fun. It was excitement. And they were, for me, really fun interviews. They were about an hour each. And I'm energized. I don't know if you can tell, but that exercise put energy into me, and it was so much fun. So I hope maybe you caught some of that today, and invite you to go take a look. They're on YouTube and they're on Facebook. So you can go check those out at Bold Leadership Stories on YouTube. So, but I've been thinking about this, and what is a mission statement? And for me, it's going to be when I finally come up with the exact thing that I want to do. I've been listening to several people about it. One of them is Bo Eason. It's Boeason. And I talked about him in a live about a week ago. Been listening to his book, There's No Plan B in Your A Game. And what he talks about is making a declaration. And that's been on my mind. The declaration, it's simple. I will be the best at whatever it is you want to do. And his time horizon is long. It's 15 to 20 years to get that done. So it's something that you take, it has to be in your area of expertise to some degree, but that's so far out. I mean, you don't know what you're capable of. It's more about what's inside here. What's your passion? What do you feel is life critical for you? You got to accomplish this, or you're not going to be successful in your life. And that to me is a mission. It's taking that idea and being the best in the world at whatever it is you want to do. So I'm thinking about that, and as I was considering this, like, okay, well, I love to use examples. I love to kind of swipe other people's success methods, right? So started thinking, okay, well, who's the best at something that I love? Sports. I thought about Jerry Rice. For some reason, Jerry Rice has been coming up in my life. I've got a friend who I was talking with the other day, and she said she grew up in the same neighborhood, and Jerry Rice was a neighbor when they grew up in their family. So, and then his name has been popping up at various places, and I actually met him one time at the airport in Orange County. So it's like, okay, Jerry Rice. What about Jerry Rice? So I knew he was really good, but I had no idea what kind of stats he put together as a football player. And some people argue that he was the best of all time, no arguments. And looking at his stats, I would say, yeah. So let's take a look at what Jerry Rice put together. And I found a YouTube video that's got a bit of his story in it, his early story. And what is it that made him the best? And was it that he was privileged? What did he come from a wealthy family? Was he given things? Was he afforded special privileges? Was he some special foods that he ate? What was it about Jerry Rice that made him so amazing and gave him the ability to last 20 years in the NFL. 20 years. The average tenure of an NFL player, I think, is between 3.5 to 5 years, something like that. It's not very long at all. Jerry was in the NFL playing, either starting or being, somewhere towards the end of his career. I think the last year or two he was on special teams and in practice stuff, and I think he just wanted to stay involved. But I mean, for the full 19 years, he was very active and making things happen, breaking records. So let's take a quick look at Jerry Rice. I'm going to pull up a video and hit play, and we'll see what we learn.
Serve yourself for yourself. But number one, I would like to be the all-time receiver.
If fate hadn't intervened, you may never have played organized football. You went to a college you've never heard of, and yet you went on to live in the end zone on Sundays and atop the NFL record books forever. So, just how good was Jerry Rice actually? While most future NFL players spent countless nights as a kid dreaming about making it to the league, that was the furthest thing from Rice's mind. Growing up in a Mississippi town with a population of just 600 people, he was the sixth of 8 children.
I think growing up in Crawford, Mississippi is just like all family. Everybody, they were very close.
With 8 kids to provide for, Rice's parents had to work nonstop to just put food on the table. Mrs. Rice would clean the houses of rich families, while Mr. Rice was a bricklayer, in addition to a handful of other random jobs. In an effort to chip in, Jerry and his brothers would often pick corn, cotton, carrots, and bale hay.
Well, it was very tight, but I think it taught us the meaning of hard work and dedication. We didn't have everything, and we had to wait out our turn for clothes, for everything.
By the time he was in high school, Rice...
So there goes that idea that he was privileged, or that he got special food or education or some special entrance into the world of football. He did not. In fact, his mom even didn't want him to be there. I think maybe this video talks about that, but let's go on.
Rice's focus was so far from one day making the NFL that he still hadn't even played organized football. He loved playing it outside with friends and watching it on TV, but his mother thought that it was too rough for him to join his school's team. Then, on one random school day, Rice was doing something he shouldn't have been, and everything changed. His school's assistant principal caught him and a friend skipping class, so Rice fled the scene like his life depended on it. The assistant principal was so blown away by Rice's speed that he told the football coach about it. The coach immediately offered Rice a spot on the team, but
So what this video doesn't say is that Jerry Rice was actually in sports. He was in track and field, and he was running in track and field, and he played a little bit of other sports. Basketball he played. So he was in really good shape, and he kept himself in shape. And I think the discipline that he was talking about was being shown, the evidence of it was that he was really fast. And that day that the assistant principal caught him and he ran away so fast was providential. That hey, this kid has definitely got something, and we need to help him use it. So they offered him a spot on the team, and mom had to be convinced. Let's take a look.
was a problem. His mother still didn't want him to play. However, the more she fought it, the more her son was determined to make it happen. So she eventually gave in, and Rice's football playing career was officially set to begin.
After I got disciplined, then the principal wanted me to go out for the football team. And
Were you great right away?
No, not at all.
Every day that summer at 7 a.m., he and one of his brothers joined his father laying bricks for 8-hour shifts on scorching hot days. Jerry said, "My brother and I, we had developed this technique where you throw the bricks up, they were separated, and I was snatching them in the air." Doing this over and over again sharpened Jerry's hand-eye coordination and increased his hand strength. He also said the experience taught him the true meaning of hard work.
We had a responsibility, and you had to live up to it. You had to help generate and bring money into the house.
And as if those daily grueling shifts weren't enough, after after work, Rice would get dropped off for a 2-hour football practice. And once that was over, he'd then run 5 miles to get home. Rice said he wasn't the most gifted or talented player on the team, but he had something that none of his teammates did, an appreciation for and a love of hard work. By the start of his junior season, Rice was in unbelievable physical shape and ready.
So, unbelievable physical shape. Where does that come from? It comes from hard work. It comes from running 5 miles after working all day and going to a 2-hour football practice. And based on what I know about Jerry Rice's practice habits, he would be full out all the time. He was running, hundreds of 100-yard dashes where the other players would go at half speed. He'd be full out. And he was known as saying, one of the sayings that he said to Bo Eason, as Bo tells it, is that he would, when he would catch a pass, when he would do patterns for practice, he'd do the pattern at full out speed, no matter what. When he caught the ball, he'd run sprint all the way to the end zone, no matter where they were. And then he'd sprint all the way back and then give the ball to the quarterback again to keep the rotation going. So Jerry was an all out kind of guy. And he was known for doing crazy things like running in the mountains full out all the time. He was just always sharpening his craft and making sure his body was in shape so that he could perform at top level all the time. And that's what got him, that base fundamental everyday doing the full out stuff was what got him to the point where he could do what he did and continue it on for 20 years in the NFL, best of the best. And we'll take a look here in a little bit to Jerry's NFL
to finally show the world what he could do on the gridiron. He played on both sides of the ball as a wide receiver and defensive back. But because his school was so small, most of his stats weren't officially recorded. But according to a sports journalist from back then, Rice, as a senior, caught 50 passes for 30 touchdowns. But whatever the actual numbers were, he did enough to earn himself a Mississippi All-State selection and attention from major colleges.
If you've been in a car accident,
Commercial
don't call
time.
an attorney. Use this AI app instead.
This is
That's
YouTube.
what I
Here we
did.
go.
Over 40 D1 schools contacted Rice, including his dream school of Mississippi State University. But none of them believed in him enough to offer a scholarship. The only program that did that was Mississippi Valley State, a Division I AA school. Reflecting on why he eventually committed to them, Rice said, "Mississippi Valley sent up a coach and I had a chance to have a conversation with him and shake his hand. That goes a long, long way towards making you feel you can really trust someone." Rice also explained, at the time they were also throwing the ball about 90% of the time. So it was a great opportunity for me. They assured me that the ball was going to be in the air coming my way, and then it was up to me to prove to everyone that I could be a professional athlete. He arrived on campus eager to prove Mississippi Valley right for believing in him. As a freshman, he caught 30 passes for 428 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rice followed this up the next season.
So he was not selected for scholarship at any of the big schools. He went to a tiny school in a no-known place, and this guy had no advantages. But again, his hard work paid off, and his focus, his diligence, his determined effort was what made the difference here. And that's what it takes to be a leader, is that every day doing the basics. And what are the basic things that you're doing every day to create that success that you want in your life? Let's fast forward here a little bit. I want to get to where Jerry
and trade their first, second, and third round picks for New England's first and third round picks. So with the 16th pick of the 1985 draft, the 49ers did something Rice never thought would happen. They drafted him.
San Francisco 49ers.
I want to go back here a sec. I want to show you the stats that he was able to come up with from his college career. It's crazy what he was able to do.
693 yards and 50 touchdowns. During his collegiate career, he broke 18 NCAA records. It didn't matter what school he played at. There was simply no debating that Jerry Rice belonged in the NFL.
There you go. He put this together where nobody could say, well, this guy doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. Even though he was from a little tiny school, he created momentum for himself that nobody could refute. And he was invited onto the 49er team, which had just won the Super Bowl the year before. And he was charged with helping them to keep their momentum going and helping with the team to do that. Was he really good? Yeah. Why? What was it about Jerry Rice? Well, it was his hard work. So in the end, what I want to do next, see if I can get this to work. I'm going to stop that share, and I want to take a look at another page on the website here. So bear with me a second. So I'm going to a Wikipedia page, and this is a page that shows Jerry Rice, his NFL records. And I mean, if you take a look at this, from most career receiving yards, almost 23,000 receiving yards. And then this is one too, down here. He was 303 most games played by a wide receiver, leads all non-kickers and non-quarterbacks. So 303 games he played in his career. I mean, that's like 3 times more than anybody else. And he was the oldest player to catch a touchdown in a Super Bowl at 40 years old. I mean, that's incredible. He was 40 years and 105 days. So 40 and a third years. So most receiving touchdowns in a game, 5 touchdowns in one game. It's incredible. Most receiving touchdowns in one Super Bowl, 3. One Super Bowl, 3 touchdowns. This list is incredible. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, was what it takes. What is a champion? What is being the best at something? And what is it that these champions do and did to be able to achieve what they were able to do? That's the question I'm working on right now. So love to get your thoughts on that. Any feedback that you've got to that question? Any stories, love stories, any stories that you can help share with this? I'd love to hear what you're thinking, and we can chat about that sometime. I have had a pretty long day. I mentioned it was an exciting day. I did 2 lives. This show is about unlocking personal leadership, and I'm very excited to be able to talk about various things dealing with growth. And my dream here is for me, as I'm putting my life together and creating shifts, is to help maybe you in designing and living your best life. And I'm working on designing and living my best life. And I've got 5 shifts that I've done. One of them is becoming my best self. The other is longevity. And if you're following me, you've seen the last couple episodes, I've been talking about a fast that I've got coming up, an extended fast that Lisa and I are going to do for 6 days. And we're going to start on Friday coming up. So today's Wednesday, and we're getting ready for that. And I'm getting my body metabolically flexible again. So eliminating carbs and sugars and all that stuff that I enjoyed over the Christmas holidays. I'm stopped that completely, and I'm weaning myself off, and I'm getting myself back into my eating window. And so it feels really good. to be in a position to do that. And I have tremendous energy. I feel great. And so the 5 shifts that I'm working on are becoming, longevity. The third one is building an audience. That's one that I'm doing right here. These are things I'm doing that I'm putting into my life. I'm making from my heart. I'm saying, this is what I want to do. These are the things that are going to make me the best at whatever my mission ends up being. I'm still thinking about that right now as to what specifically, how I want to define that, because I want it to be very well thought out and specific. So I'm taking the time. But these 5 shifts I've been working on for the last 4 years, and most of them, these lives, building an audience, I've been doing for maybe 2 years, and it's slow. It's just slow process, but it's a little bit every day. And I think that's what it takes. Building an audience, to me right now, that one analogy of it is a sculptor. It has a big piece of stone, and he's visioning a beautiful piece of art, maybe some athlete's body inside this stone, and he's taking his mallet and his chisel, and he's pounding away at this stone. And for me, every live that I do now is kind of like one hit on that mallet and one little chip falling off the stone. It takes time for this to happen, for an audience to build, and I have to get better at it. So this is the process of me getting better at building an audience. The 4th thing is wealth building. I'm building generational wealth that will carry on after I'm gone. And how do you do that? Well, I'm researching it. I've got coaches, and I'm putting plans together right now to make that happen. And it's exciting. The 5th thing is community service. And I've been doing that for a little while, for a couple of years. And boy, I tell you what, of these 5, that one's the most rewarding right now, is just getting involved and getting immersed in my community and meeting people, and so many amazing people that are doing things in my community that it's like, how did I not do this before? You find time. I don't care what age you are. Find time every week, an hour or 2 at least, to get involved in your community, and the rewards for you will come back compressed and 1,000-fold back to you somehow. Don't worry about it. Just get involved, and you'll find joy and pleasure and beauty there. It's really amazing. So I'm going to sign off. I'm about spent. I got to go help with fixing dinner and getting stuff done. We're going to cook a little bit of a dinner tonight. And so my eating window, I ate a sandwich about noon today. I had a little sandwich. That's all I've eaten all day. And tonight we're going to have guacamole boats, and we're going to have probably some meat, some lamb that I barbecued last night. They're really good. So I'm going to sign off. See you again tomorrow. Hope you're having an awesome day, and talk to you soon. Bye.